I was looking through some old papers and I found this calendar that my daughter drew when she was younger. And I thought to myself, is this how she sees the image of a tree? And it got me thinking about how kids see trees in their own neighborhoods. They see trees topped all the time, and they grow up thinking that that may be the right way to deal with them. They also believe that the roots go straight down into the ground. Well, at least they do in this image. Well, I want to talk about improper tree trimming today. I've been working on my YouTube channel for 12 years now. Started in 2008. And the purpose of my YouTube channel is a little bit different than a lot of the other tree channels that you see out there. There's a lot of great channels if you're trying to learn how to tie knots and how to do special rigging and all that kind of stuff. And I highly recommend many of them. The Educated Climber, for one. Patrick's doing a great job. He's breaking down lots of individual aspects of working in the trees. But my channel is quite a bit different. I'm trying to appeal to both the homeowner who wants to learn more about their trees, as well as the tree worker that wants to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. Because unfortunately, there are so many tree people out there, tree workers, that are instructed to do their job without any understanding of why they're doing it. There's still, to this day, topping of trees is just rampant. And those of us who are knowledgeable in this industry recognize that topping is very harmful to a tree. It creates long-term damage, and the big problem is that you can get away with it and people don't see the impact of what happens. When you top a tree, you cut it off, and all the sprouts that come up from the sides create secondary growth. But this top piece starts to decay and it starts to rot. And all these pieces get bigger and bigger and bigger. It is also the consequence of multiples. So a natural branch formation that spreads out and balances itself out evenly is entirely different than a mass of suckers. Take for instance a tree like a live oak tree. Now you've got a mass of suckers that comes out that creates a whole lot more acorn production and a whole lot more sprouts that's living off of this piece that's starting to decay. Now it grows and it grows and it grows and it grows and then starts to self-destruct. And a lot of times it takes maybe 10 years for the damage to actually rear its ugly head and show itself. So a lot of what I'm doing on this channel is trying to educate people as to the reasons why you prune a tree in the first place. What's important? Do you need to trim every tree? No, you really don't. How often do you need to trim a tree? Well, if you top a tree, you have to trim it all the time to keep it safe. If you allow a tree to grow naturally, you don't have to trim it as often. So follow along. I'm going to show you some examples. Well, let's start off by looking at a tree that is natural, that has not been topped or obliterated in any way. This tree pretty much can carry on without any pruning whatsoever. This is just fine. I spent a bit of time driving around some of the neighborhoods, and I like looking at what other people are doing, and then I stumbled across this mess. This looks just like the tree in the drawing. Everything is stubbed off, everything is sprouting out, and that was from less than a year ago. That's all the new growth that came out. There's a beautiful magnolia. Magnolia doesn't look like it's had much work done on it. So the people have pruned one tree one way and let the other tree grow natural. These are our local plane trees. We also refer to them as sycamores. And you can see where that one tree was topped at one time and all the new sprouts coming off of it. Those are some plane trees off in the distance. These are native, they're natural native trees in California. This is one of the topics I really want to talk about. I came across these ash trees. These are the Fraxinus udii, and they're in a very prominent location along a busy street in Saratoga, or actually San Jose, Saratoga Avenue. And you can see that the people that hired somebody have hired people that had no worry about using spurs on the trees, because they're not fresh spur marks, but this is what was just freshly done. And I see this done to these trees every couple of years. They just chop them way back. And I guess their psychology and their strategy is, well, they survived, they'll do it. But it's really it's a hard way of dealing with your trees. It's not good for the trees. They develop big decay pockets, and you can see, from a distance, the irony of it is these trees will sprout out in just a few months. They will look fine. They'll look great, and nobody will know that they've been butchered. And to contrast this is the same species of tree that has not been pruned. Looks great. They do get big. They're not the type of tree that you should choose for a tight location. So proper tree selection for the location is very, very important. It's Fraxinus udii, evergreen ash. I also came across a bunch of Crepe Myrtles. These trees have had very little pruning except for some small cuts that were made presumably for... Oh, look at that hummingbird in there. I didn't even notice that. I must have noticed it when I was out videoing. But there's lots of little cuts, but there hasn't been any outside shaping. And Crepe Myrtles are a type of tree that are frequently cut back really, really hard. And this whole row here has been left pretty much intact. And if these trees are not contained and not butchered, they will develop into very nice, low-maintenance trees that don't require a whole lot of work. You can see that somebody's gone through, and there's stubs everywhere, but just down low, where they've been cutting it back from the parking area. So clearly it's gardeners or somebody that really don't understand what they're doing. The base of these trees are potentially, you can get some fairly large root systems growing. Here's some other trees that have never had anything done to them. As a matter of fact, these trees have been absolutely neglected from the very get-go. There's a better shot of some of the roots, how they can develop. But I want you to take a look at this. These trees still have the original planting stakes, and they're in bondage. These trees are tied up, and they've probably been growing for 15 or 20 years, and the original planting stakes have never been taken off. I don't understand that. So if they have a gardener, their gardener is inept or blind or both, or the people that live here, they don't pay attention. They just don't see their trees. And what I really want you to do is start paying attention to your trees. Look at all the little details. What's going on in the trees? How do you prune a tree, and why do you prune a tree? There's one he butchered really hard near the house, and there's one that's still got the stakes on it. That's the same house. So he's got about 7 or 8 Crepe Myrtle. There's some orange trees. The only thing that these trees need to have is to have all those dead branches taken out, and there are quite a few dead branches. Citrus trees don't require a whole lot, but you do have to pay attention to them. Oh, this is beautiful. There's a Magnolia solangiana. In California, everything is starting to come back to life, and the blooms are just amazing. There's a Crepe Myrtle that has not been touched. It's a very natural shape. That's a beautiful tree. That's the way they should be. And yet another Magnolia solangiana. Those come in pink, and they also come in white in our area. Probably others, but I've not seen them around here. Yet some more big sycamores in the back there, plane trees. Oh, this is interesting. This is a eucalyptus tree that has been butchered. It's been cut back multiple times. And if you look really close up into the canopy, you can see where the cuts were. But let's look at the base of the tree. See all those white things there? That is from a mushroom, Latiparus gilbertsonii. So this tree is riddled with fungus. They come out in big, beautiful yellow mushrooms, then they dry up and fall off like this. So this tree has a lot of fungus problems in it. There you go. There's the big topped cuts I'm talking about. I don't know why they don't just get rid of this mess. They just keep spending money on it. They keep butchering it, and the tree is riddled with fungus. The tree is just a big bush. Well, maybe that's what they want. Maybe they want a bush for privacy, but they're going to lose it to the fungus. Interesting when you see these white things on the ground. They start off yellow.